Hey everybody, welcome to Revitalise Reconnect Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet a business owner, a business entrepreneur from across the UK business community. And today I've got the great pleasure and privilege to be with a gentleman who's had over 30 years experience in business. He founded his leadership in 2019, that's Y Leadership. So now he's in his second year of self-employment. He's had previous roles as a CEO and board level roles with 3 well-known franchise brands over the last 15 years. He's also been included in industries as healthcare, procurement and cost management, recruitment and retail, a wealth of knowledge across various different sectors. As said earlier, he's been running his own business now called the Y Leadership Limited. Can you please welcome with me today with Revitalise Reconnect Meets, the one and only Mr. Graeme McKinnon, CEO and founder of Y Leadership Limited. Graeme, how are you today?
Lee, I am well, thank you. Thank you for the great introduction. Who is that guy?
You're very welcome. It's always nice to get a bit of preparation done before the actual catch-up, and you provided it. So I just want to make sure that people know what you've done and where you came from. So absolutely superb, Graeme. Graeme, could you start off today by just letting everybody know a little bit about your business and Y Leadership?
Sure. So I guess the clue is in the name. So Y Leadership is a leadership development, performance coaching business. Interestingly, I chose the name Y Leadership specifically around the importance, I believe, of being able to understand, first of all, what your why is or what anybody's why is, and to be able to articulate that. I think it's really important. To have a cause, to have a purpose, to have a belief in something, and to be able to articulate that, whether that's to stakeholders, to customers, or whatever. So that's first and foremost. But what do I do within the business? Well, it's primarily assisting business leaders, maybe leadership teams, business owners, and helping them to achieve whatever aspiration they have in relation to growth. I guess the common theme for me across everything that I do, I literally only work with people who have significant aspirations to grow the business. And that's a really exciting thing for me, and for the associates that I work with, and whether that is about developing a strategic plan, a long-term vision for the business, whether it's about developing people within the business, it encapsulates all of those things. But it's a really exciting business to be part of.
Superb, and especially at the moment where you've got a lot of things going on, and over the last sort of 10 weeks that we've been involved in working on this wonderful virtual opportunities online and everything else. How have you diversified your business over the last 10 weeks? Again, we spoke about earlier, there was a lot of proactivity going on. You're having a lot more meetings online. So how have you changed yours and diversified your business in the last 10 weeks?
So the risk of describing myself as a dinosaur, Lee, but the reality is that up until 10 weeks ago, other than the occasional Skype meeting or whatever, technology, in all honesty, didn't feature very much in my business world. Of course, as we've all found out, suddenly realised that face-to-face meetings, which is again where I've spent most of my time, that wasn't going to happen. So I guess, like many other people in business today, using technology to good effect, and embracing that, I guess, embracing the whatever potential self-limiting beliefs I may have had in my mind. And to be honest, I've been blown away. I've absolutely been blown away at how effective it is. And obviously, spending way less time than I would have done previously traveling has allowed me to use that time, to use the word that you use, which is proactively, and to really think about how can I use this time to add value for my clients. And it has been amazing. The truth is that whilst notwithstanding all of the challenges that everybody has been facing over recent weeks and months, from a business perspective, it has really transformed how I manage my business and the impact that I can have on others, which is, fundamentally, if I think about my own why, and it's a why that stayed with me through, didn't mention it in the introduction, but my very first career was in nursing. And my why essentially is firmly rooted in helping others to become the best that they can be, whatever that means for them. And it, as I say, applied from my nursing days all the way through my business journey so far. So I think using technology and just being proactive. I'm a very can-do personality by nature. So, but I'm not going to lie, it came as a bit of a shock just when lockdown happened, and suddenly I thought, wow, this is still a relatively young business. So, but being proactive and being positive, I think, is probably the two key elements of success so far.
100%. And I also believe, and we spoke about this as well, is that proactivity that you're starting to do is having that daily routine, and having those meetings lined up. I was talking to somebody yesterday that you're traveling maybe 3 hours in a day. Well, you're not traveling for those 3 hours anymore now. You can actually fit in maybe 2 meetings into there. So that's what makes it a lot more proactive. So you're seeing a lot more people, but you're also having more in-depth conversations with the individuals. Yeah, across the board. We talk about golden tips, and you've been helping many business owners and business connections, not just even in the business club, but also from across the UK. What would be your golden tip of advice to a entrepreneur, someone who's just ready to step out onto their business journey? What would you share with them as a golden tip of advice?
I think in answer to that question, Lee, I'm going to, if you'll allow me, I'll share 2 tips.
Please.
I think the first one is actually around it's around the why, and there's a growing conversation that's happening across the business world about the importance of purpose, cause, belief. So I think for anybody starting out in the journey, taking time to pause, taking time to just really think about their why. What does their business actually cause? I think is absolutely crucial, and I guess part of that is that my belief is that people don't necessarily buy what you do until such times as they have bought into why you do what you do. And I think that is a very important part of any potential future business conversation for somebody who's just starting a business. The second tip, I think, and I work with, I've literally over the 15 years, I've worked with hundreds of franchisees. So self-employed entrepreneurs, okay, operating under a franchise brand, but nevertheless still self-employed, and therefore, they've got to create business. And for me, whether you use the word focus or whether you use, if I describe it as that kind of inch wide, mile deep approach to whatever they're doing. So whether you're focusing on maybe 2 or 3 sectors, I chose, in having launched Wine Leadership, I've focused on the franchising sector, none more so than because I've spent 15 years in there. But the reality of that is that my message, the words that I use, the articulation of what I do, and that everything is tailored to the franchising world. So helping franchisors and franchisees create the kind of partnership that every franchisor and franchisee wants. So that's really helped when it comes to messaging. And I think, as I say, other than that, just real focus, but determination and proactivity once you get that clear.
Yeah, and I think you're right what you say. as well, Graeme. It's that there's a word that's always used, and I use it quite regularly, is consistency, delivering the right message. But you have to be delivering that message on a regular occasion, every single day, every single week, every single month, because then that gives you purpose and focus. And you touched on there briefly as well, it's that reflection, taking time out, where a lot of people don't do it. They submerge themselves fully into it, and then they're coming up for air afterwards. But then they have to keep breathing and keep reflecting on what they're doing, and just taking time out just to see where they are and how they move forward. Thank you so much for sharing those 2 tips. Greatly appreciate it. Now, you sent through to me many achievements that you've achieved over the last span of 30 years. You touched on briefly just there a franchise-like model, but one of your successes and achievements you mentioned here was that every franchise business relies on the success of its franchisees, which means you've had the privilege to support, coach, and mentor hundreds of franchisees over the years. Can you add anything else to that? And how was that done? And how did you achieve that success?
So I think the first thing I would say, and I mean, having mentioned my early career in nursing, one of the skills, without meaning to blow my own trumpet, but one of my strengths, I guess, and that has carried me through my whole career, is my ability to put myself in another person's shoes. And that comes naturally to me, but it's always my starting point. So, whether that comes down to, even when I'm in the world of sales, I simply set out to find out whether I can help the other person or not. And therefore, I'm not what you might describe as somebody who's typically salesy type of person. But so I think that's the first thing to say. I think the second thing is about it's about focusing on. I'll use the term afters. That's an Andy Bounds piece of terminology. So if anybody hasn't visited or seen anything from Andy Bounds, I would urge you to do so. But Andy Bounds puts things very simply, and it is about focusing on the afters. What will my interaction cause as an after for the other person that I'm working with? So whether that's franchisees, from a coaching perspective, really focusing on what the outcome needs to be for them, and whether that is more sales, more success, happier teams, better performing teams, high performing teams, better work-life balance. It's not for me to decide what the afters are. It's for the person I'm speaking to and working with. And I guess part of what I describe as, I've got 3 words on my website about why leadership, which is clarity, purpose, action. And for me, it's those 3 things. It's helping the person I'm working with, franchisees, to get the clarity they need, to be clear about the purpose, and then to set whatever actions and to hold people accountable. I mean, I know one of the great things that you do, Lee, and Revitalize is running the accountability program. Well, again, we are very aligned when it comes to how important accountability is. And I guess, what helps me to jump out of bed in the morning is when I'm working with franchisees and helping them to really achieve the lives that they want to live, whatever that means for them, and to do that even in a way which often at the outset would seem like an impossible result. And that kind of exponential growth is so exciting, and I use the word as a privilege. It is a privilege to be able to help people and their families and their communities achieve, a huge level of success that they perhaps never thought possible.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal what you do, and especially when you look, I mean, accountability is, and thank you for sharing that sort of your comments as well about what I do with Revitalize. But I think accountability is forgotten about so much. Sometimes people get on that track of their business and they're pushing forward as much as they can, but they do forget about just looking at the actions that they're taking, and the repercussions, the afters. I mean, great from Mr. Andy Bounds himself, talking about the afters. You know, it's like a ripple effect. When you drop that pebble in the ocean, it ricochets off. And those afters are so important. But that preparation and that accountability is also in there at the same time. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, then that's going on with the achievements, your business, the last 30 years, the healthcare industry that you've been supporting in. What's next for Wire Leadership? And most importantly, what is next for Mr. Graeme McKinnon? What's the next step for you?
So I guess, you know, having embarked on, and it's interesting, isn't it? Having said what I've just said, and having coached, like I say, literally, you know, hundreds of franchisees over the years, this is the first time I've ever taken the step myself into the world of self-employment. So I guess that's the first thing to say. So what's next for Graeme McKinnon, for Wire Leadership? Well, it is continuing the growth journey for me. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's exactly as I said before. In order to do that, I've got to make a significant impact on the world of the other people that choose to engage and pay for my services. So I think essentially it is around that. So continuing to do what I'm doing, continuing to really focus on making sure that my clients are delighted. So it's not about, I'm not looking to win, you know, 100 clients. It's about a much smaller number of clients, whereby I can really make an impact over a period of, you know, months and years, and help them to achieve their goals and ambitions. So I think that's probably the most important thing for me, is to continue that. And I'm also working with a small hand-picked number of associates, people that I know, like, and trust, and that they know, like, and trust me, so that I can expand, if you like, the services that I can offer from within Wire Leadership, and deliver, again, more added value from the people who have got specialist expertise in different areas. I mean, I'm working with one client just now. You know, we're working on marketing strategy, and again, it's just, you know, when I hear the words coming back that this is fantastic, this is amazing, you know, that makes what little hair I have, maybe on the back of my neck, stand up. So
that's brilliant. When you get that goosebump feeling at the time when you actually help somebody and it's going in the right direction for you. But it sounds exciting what you've got planned next anyway, and the amount of people that you're helping at the moment, and how that's going to affect other people, because it's, as we said, that ricochet, that domino effect that's going to happen with it. So I wish you all the very best with everything that you do and the successes that no doubt are ahead on the horizon. How could anybody who's heard us speak today, watched us today as well, how can they get in touch with Mr. Graeme McKinnon to find out how you can assist them on their journey and more about Wire Leadership? Where would they go to first?
So probably the simplest thing is jump on the website. So www.wireleadership.co.uk, and my contact details are on there. They can pick up the phone. My mobile number is 07495 142 942. Or they can just have a look at my LinkedIn profile. Again, all of my contact details are on there, but I should be easily found.
That good old-fashioned telephone. You remember those?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well and truly, thank you so much for sharing today. And it's absolutely, as I said earlier, a privilege to get to know you a bit better, and also to find out a bit more about your background as well, and how you've helped and how you've assisted with many, many people. Once again, thanks again for today, Graeme. Really appreciate your time. And I would highly recommend anybody reaching out to Graeme to find out what he can do for you and your business, and look at those afters, most importantly. Thanks to Graeme, thanks to myself, thank you to you for listening and for watching, and we look forward to welcome you back to the next edition of ReConnect Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet a business owner and business entrepreneur from across the UK network. Have a great week, stay safe and keep healthy, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.